16 years of obsession. How a good deed turned into a nightmare. I couldn't escape. My name is Emma. I'm 28 years old, and I need to tell you about 16 years of my life that were stolen by someone I tried to help. 16 years of being stalked, watched, and hunted by someone whose obsession with me escalated from uncomfortable to absolutely terrifying. 16 years that taught me that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is the most dangerous. If you love true horror stories about obsession, stalking, psychological manipulation, and the kind of real-world terror that keeps you looking over your shoulder, hit like and subscribe right now. Because what happened to me will make you paranoid about helping people. It will make you question every interaction. It will make you understand that some people's brains are wired in ways that society can't fix. That some obsessions don't fade. They only grow. This is the story of how I became the target of a 16-hour obsession. This is the story of how I survived. Part 1. The Good Deed. It all started innocently enough. When I was 16 years old, my mother asked me to help a girl she knew who needed socialization. The girl's parents felt like she wasn't developing normal social skills. She was isolated, withdrawn, struggling with depression, everything a typical teenager struggles with times 10. I was always the type to help people, to be kind, to see someone struggling and want to lift them up. So when my mother asked, I said yes without hesitation. The girl I was asked to befriend was someone I'd actually babysat for a few years prior. I had sat for several families during that time, so it took me a moment to remember which one she was. When my mother told me, I was slightly hesitant because of the attitude she had when I first met her. But I was always open to helping other people in any way that I could. I began to get together with her every once in a while. I would invite her to small gatherings with some of my other friends, but only if there were other younger ones with us, like their little sisters or something. I was always in groups of people of various ages, usually around the ages of 13 plus, and always with both guys and girls. My older friends and I were sort of the big sisters of the group. So that's why we were always happy to have those types of get-togethers. We thought we were doing good. We thought we were helping troubled youth find their place in the world. She slowly opened up to me. She began to share with me that she was dealing with depression and often thought that she was unloved by her family and friends. She also told me that she had contemplated ending herself and was cutting. The reason I took to her more than the other younger ones is because I had dealt with those same exact thoughts and feelings when I was around her age. So I wanted to do my best to give her a listening ear and a shoulder to lean on. I would give her some advice, anything that I thought would benefit her. When she felt that she could trust me, I tried to broaden her horizons, but things slowly would take a strange and eventually sinister turn. Part 2. The Change. Now when I would try to invite her to our usual get-togethers or social events, she seemed very standoffish. I was a little surprised, but not too much, because I knew how difficult things were for her, and it did take her some time to warm up to people. Eventually, though, she began to try and drag me along with her when she had one of her "I don't want to be here" attitudes. For example, we would go to the house of another friend of mine. There would be maybe 6 or 8 of us in total when we would watch movies or do something else. But as soon as we got to wherever it was that we were, she wanted to leave. She would pull me aside and say, "I don't want to be here, let's go." At first I was kind. I would tell her, "Come on, let's just stay for a little while. If you still don't want to stay, we will leave." I soon learned that she didn't want to stay, even if we were all having a great time, no matter what the circumstances were. Eventually, she kept pulling me aside whenever we were in group settings. So I just eventually stopped inviting her altogether, because all she wanted to do was leave, no matter what. I mention this because it's another vital part of the story. It's what would come next. I would just spend time with her once in a while. Just her and I. And that's when things started to change. That's when the obsession began. She began to call me on a daily basis. It started with 2-3 times a day. And eventually it got up to 7 to 10 times every single day. As I said before, this time in my life I was always extremely busy, so I wasn't always home. I had my own telephone landline because I was able to pay for it myself. I had an answering machine, not voicemail, because I was too cheap to pay for a feature I didn't need. Anyway, I would have to change the tapes way too often because of how much she would call, leaving message after message. She would leave messages like, "Where are you? Why aren't you answering my phone calls? Who are you with?" That was just a little too weird for me. Even when I told her that I wasn't always home until late in the evening or nighttime, and all she had to do was leave one message. As soon as I was home, I'd return all of the messages I had for the day. That didn't deter her from continuing to do this day after day after day. I began to get really annoyed, but stupid me didn't listen to my gut instincts. I kept telling myself, she just needs a friend. It's not her fault. Boy, would I soon learn that was just not the case. Part 3. The escalation. Eventually, I kind of drifted away from her for a bit. Not intentionally, just because things in life seemed to speed up, and I was even busier than before. I would have very few times that I could get together with a friend or two, possibly going out to eat, shopping at the mall, maybe even seeing a movie. But she began showing up wherever I was. And no, I didn't tell her where I was going or who I was with. Like I said, I had pretty much drifted away from spending time with her. We lived in a pretty big suburb, so it's not like it would have been easy for her to know where to find me. I began to get really creeped out, because I thought it was way too coincidental that she was everywhere I was. When I would be doing anything recreational, she would just appear, out of nowhere. She even found out where I worked and what college I was going to, something that I never told her. She wasn't even in high school yet, so why was she at my college campus with her mother? It didn't make sense. This is not even the creepiest part. Yes, there is more to this story. When I was on break from college, I had the time to spend with my family and close friends. I did get together with her a couple of times, still not listening to the creeps meter that had been going off for months. That was so stupid. Well, things took an even more weird and unexplainable turn. She would ask to spend the night, and I didn't really do sleepovers anymore, since I was of age and pretty much leading my own life. But she was still a young one, so I would invite her once in a while to stay over. Somehow, and I have no memory of how this happened, but she wouldn't leave. It's like she slept over one night and then just never left. Trust me, there was definitely not an open invitation for her to stay long term. I told her that she couldn't stay with me because she had to have her own life, and so did I. She got very angry with me, and for several days she refused to leave. Thankfully, I was still living at home. My mom had to step in and pretty much tell her bluntly to get out. She had a little temper tantrum that night, but she did end up leaving. Part 4. Moving away doesn't help. By this time, I'd been fed up with her irrational and erratic behavior. I was avoiding her like the plague. I didn't call her back. If she was somewhere I would duck into hiding, so to speak, and try to lose her in the crowd. That didn't stop her from increasing her strange behavior. Her family even did some things that I feel sort of helped her to stalk me more. Well, this is not something I'm making up. This actually happened to me. She moved to a street around the corner from where I lived. No, that's not the scary part. Her and her family moved into a house which from her living room window she could see directly into our backyard. And from there, you could see the window to my bedroom. Yes, that happened. I only know this because I found out where she had moved, and my mom was still friends with her mother. So I remember going over there once when she wasn't home, and when I looked out their living room window, I could see into our backyard. I could see my bedroom window from the back fence. We had a chain link fence, so you could see everything. I got the chills when I saw that. When we got home, I informed my mom, who was so busy socializing that she didn't even notice. That's when my mother tried to talk to her mom and tell her about the situation. Her parents both ignored my mom's warning. My mom tried to ask them to talk to her about backing off. Well, that didn't happen. Things just escalated from there. Her mom even tried to convince me to stay friends with her and wanted to pretty much pawn her daughter off on me. I don't even remember what she said to try and convince me. I just remember saying to myself, "Okay, lady, you're just as nuts as your daughter." Part 5. The police at my door. It wasn't long before the most sinister and disturbing part happened. And this was the last straw. I was home alone one day. She was still living in the stalker house. So this had to be how she knew I was the only one home. I wasn't talking to her. I'd even changed my phone number and told my friends to absolutely not give it to her, which they respected and happily obliged. Anyway, as I said, I was home alone. It was maybe 10 a.m. and I was just getting up to take a shower and get ready to start my day. As soon as I get out of the shower, I hear the doorbell ring. I think nothing of it. Didn't go to answer the door. I always look through the peephole before I answer the door, something I still do to this day. I see several police officers standing there. I got a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach, thinking something had happened to one of my family members. I answered the door. They asked me, "Are you Emma?" I answered, "No, that person doesn't live here." The officer then asks, "Do you have an identification with you?" Which I answered, "Of course, but it's in the back of the house. I have to go get it." "Don't mind if I come with you," the officer says. I just nodded in agreement, but I was totally confused as to why they're at my door and why they're asking me for my ID. The officer then proceeds to tell me that he has to come with me when I go into the back of my house. I just nodded in agreement, but still confused as to what is going on. So we go into my bedroom. I grab my ID and I show the officer who I am. He just says, "Okay, thank you. Can we sit down for a moment and talk to you?" Of course, I agreed, and motioned him back into the living room where the other officer had joined us. We sit down, and they tell me that they had received an anonymous phone call that there was a young lady that lived at my address by the name of the girl that was extremely depressed and may have already taken her life. I just sat there for a moment in complete shock. I told them that she used to be a friend of mine, but that I hadn't talked to her in quite a while, but that she did not live there. They asked me if I had any contact information for where she was. Thankfully, I still had her info on hand. I then give them her contact information, telephone number, and home address. They thanked me for my time and left. I thought that was the end of it. Not by a long shot. Part 6. The truth comes out. After they left, I called my mom immediately. She proceeded to tell me to come to her workplace until I had to go to my classes for the day. I hightailed it and drove to her office. She owned the business. It was no problem for me to stay there for a few hours. I stayed there until I had to go to class, and then went on with the rest of my day, although I was still shaken up a bit. The rest of the story is from a third-party perspective. All of my close friends knew about the situation by this time, because her behavior was way too psychotic for me, and I was going to do whatever I needed to, so I would be safe. I believe a few friends of mine and myself were at a coffee shop, one of those internet cafes from back in the day, and we were talking when another mutual friend walks in and comes right up to us, looks at me, and says, "I have to tell you something." I was like, "Okay, shoot." Apparently, a few days before they had run into her, and they said she looked eerily exactly like me. My jaw dropped, and I asked, "What do you mean we in no way look similar? In no way, shape, or form? I mean, it wasn't like you would confuse one of us for the other." Well, she had apparently begun to dress very much like me, dyed and styled her hair like me, wore the same kind of bracelets I would wear. I had a bit of a thing for friendship bracelets back then, and just looked exactly like me. I was shocked to my very core. I had been on the phone with a couple of friends of mine. I had the three-way calling feature, where you could call two people at once, and all talk to one another. One of the friends in the line had informed me that they had heard about why the report incident occurred. This is a few months after the fact. She had heard from another reliable and trustworthy friend of ours that the reason there was that call, this is going to blow your mind, is because she had called anonymously, saying that a young lady by that name lived at my home and was incredibly depressed. That's not the craziest part. The reason she did it is because she wanted the police to think I was her. She gave the police my physical description, and this is before she started looking like me, so that they would take me away to a psychiatric ward. Therefore, she could take over my life. How super crazy could she be? I don't know how she thought that my family and friends would allow her to do that. But this is how mentally unstable she was. Part 7. Freedom, then the online hunt. Now the timing for me was perfect. I only say that because I was getting ready to move away from the area, because I was starting a new job, and life had taken me in that direction. My family was moving away with me for obvious reasons, so we in fact did move away. It was the best thing to ever happen to me, because she just got worse and worse over time. She began to harass my close friends, trying to get my whereabouts, like my address, phone number, where I hadn't moved away to. They didn't give her any information, since they knew how psychotic she was. At one point, she even began to stalk the brother of one of her very close guy friends, just so she could try to intimidate him, to tell her where I was. He had to have his grandparents step in, because he wasn't of age yet. I have no idea what happened to that situation from there, since I had moved away by then, and the internet wasn't like it is today. Let's fast forward to 2012. My obsession stalking began around the year 2000, obviously. Since it's 2012, social media is a big thing, and of course I had a Facebook account. I didn't think of my privacy, because to me all of that was long behind me, and I had actually forgotten about her. One day I go to sign on and take a wild guess as to who tried to friend me on Facebook. My heart sank for a second. Then the first thing I did was delete the request and block her, fast thinking. I had taken care of the eerie online encounter. I was wrong yet again. She began to have her friends message me, asking me why I didn't accept her request. Why did I block her? Blah, blah, blah. I blocked each and every person that contacted me until the message just eventually stopped. Not quite to the end yet. The last run-in I had with her online was when she tried to contact me through every single social media account I had. Twitter, Instagram, etc. I blocked her, of course. She then proceeds to try and make fake accounts, using my photo and name. I thought, okay, little Miss Crazy, I'll fix your fanny. As you must know, by now I am more assertive and didn't take any kind of craziness from anyone. I had all the fake accounts closed by reporting them to all the social media outlets, but not before getting as much information as I could. I reported her to the proper authorities. Thankfully, I had documented everything that happened in the past, and I kept it all stored away. What can I say? I'm a pack rat. Once I get the reports out, the contact stopped. I also changed my name that I use on every social media account that I have. Instead of using my legal name, I use an alias instead. This is one thing she does not know about me. No one, except for my immediate family, knows this little fact. I also put everything on super private and have set some super high security measures. Not one. Last fast forward. May 2016, I turned my phone on like I do every morning, and after my phone loads up it says no service. I knew there had to be a mistake. So I called the phone company, asked them what's going on, why my phone had no service, since I'd just paid my bill. They looked on their system and proceeded to tell me that they had received a phone call a few hours earlier that morning from a young lady. They assumed it was me, I guess, and she said that she had a new phone and that the phone number needed to be transferred to this new phone. When they told her that the name didn't match on the account somehow, and I have no idea how she got them to change the name on my account from my name to hers. I have no idea what she wanted to accomplish by doing this, and even worse, how she got my number. I explained that this person was a long-time stalker, and that I had reports to the police that I have to be protected against her because she is capable of anything. So they asked me to go into their corporate offices so they could change everything back to its original state, as well as putting some security measures on the account so that this wouldn't happen again. Conclusion: 16 years later, now since then. So far, I haven't had any more incidents. I'm absolutely on high alert, because if she was willing to wait 16 years and still wants to find me, for whatever reason, there's no way in hell I'm gonna let my guard down. The only reason I didn't file a restraining order is because, as far as I know, she does not know where I live, and I want to keep it that way. However, if she thinks that I won't ever file one, if she does find me, she's got another thing coming. And to her, if you're listening somewhere out there in the darkness, I hope we never meet again. I hope you got help. I hope you found someone else to focus your obsession on. Someone else whose life to ruin. Because you stole 16 years from me, 16 years of looking over my shoulder, 16 years of being paranoid, 16 years of not being able to trust people. All because I tried to be kind. All because I tried to help someone in need. And that's the lesson I've learned. Sometimes helping people hurts you more than it helps them. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes you have to protect yourself, even if it means abandoning someone who needs help. Because not everyone can be saved, and not everyone deserves your kindness.